Doing regenerative brake pad replacements, or say it again.
Regenerative brake pad
replacements. Anyways, you'll need one of these. This is the tool that helps you compress the caliper, but while it compresses the caliper, you have to turn it. So you need this tool to do regenerative brakes. You can go to your local auto parts store and rent them. And personally, I use O'Reilly's here in Minnesota, where I'm from, and it's a special tool you need for regenerative brake pads. Before you start, you have to pop your hood and take your brake fluid cap off. Make sure you clean around a little so absolutely nothing gets in there. As you compress your brake pad, this fluid will rise. And if the cap is on, then the fluid can't rise. So you want to take it off before you start to do anything. So I use a breaker bar to take off my lug nuts. You might just use a tire iron, both will work. But have the car down, of course, when you start, and break all the nuts so they're all loose. So next you need to jack up your car. So make sure your tire is off the ground. And then I personally put a jack stand under here to make sure the car doesn't fall on me. Personally, I use my Ryobi impact driver to take the bolts off really fast. After they're loose. Take the tire off. And just set it aside for now. So I'm loosening the bolts that hold on the brake caliper, and after that, we'll compress the caliper.
Go.
Use a plier, or in my case, I use a channel lock, and see this wire? This is holding it in place. So we gotta take that off too. So after you get it freed, then you just pull the caliper off very carefully, because you got to be careful of your lines. And there you go. So now we got our caliper off. Now I'm going to grab my caliper compressor and put it together. And you have to have this flange out of your toolbox that it came with. And I'm very lucky because this actually fits my regenerative brake thing. I'm very lucky because this size actually fits this. But if it doesn't, if your car has a different size brake caliper, then the kit comes with whatever you would need. So you would take the disc that does fit your caliper and put it in place, and then use the bottom of this and just line up the holes like that. All right, now I'm gonna compress the caliper. So I line up my 2 pinholes with the 2 pinholes on here. So you turn this bolt until the compressor is pretty tight in there. Now comes the tricky part. Right. Well, to make this whole thing tight as it is right now. Then you turn this top piece clockwise. And see that turning? See how it's compressing? As you turn. But what happens as it compresses is now it gets loose. So now we got to come back up here and tighten this bolt again. So it's still pushing on it. So that's how you compress a regenerative brake caliper. And then you want to put new pads in, of course. Now remove the brake caliper compressor. And now you're ready for your new pads. You can also get anti-squeak gel to put on the back of these, and I do recommend that. Now, all we gotta do is put it all back together. So I'm putting the caliper back on, putting the bolts back in place. You'll probably need a screwdriver to help you put this wire back in because it's very tight. Personally, what I do is I just put it in the bottom hole first. And make sure it's in there all the way, because it's pretty easy to do that. It helps hold the brake caliper in place. The hard part is getting it in and securing it. There we go. And don't forget to put on your bolt caps. All you gotta do now is put your tire back on. Remember, always use your hand to start your lug nuts. And remember, once you get the car down, just tighten up your lug nuts. So I put the brake fluid cap on, and we're all done. Just remember, when you get your car and start it for the first time, your brake pedal might go all the way to the floor before it comes back up. So don't try and drive it into work quite yet. So now we got our thing off. Hi.
Hello, bonjour.
Hello, for sure. Today we're doing a Ford C-Max. Take. Good? Okay. Just keep going. Can you stop it?